Hey guys, so it is just me in the studio today, and I am here to have a heart-to-heart with you all out there. I feel like getting started with this podcast, it's so important to make sure that I don't lose my heart, that I don't lose the truth behind why I'm doing this and get into the aesthetics or, just the content creation aspect of it. I really, really do want this to be genuine and a lot of different things because I'm so multifaceted. So today it's just me to you, heart to heart, and I'm going to be talking about the reset that changed everything for me. I think a lot of you can relate to this when it comes to the word reset. It means to just recalibrate, to recenter, to get things back to its optimal place. And so many of us are trying to figure that out in this time, including me, because just like you, I am a human being. And so this is human moi, just talking to you all. As much as I love being a coach and I'm grateful for the arm of leadership that the Lord has extended into my life, I'm really just somebody's daughter. I was once a little girl and I grew up into this woman that I am now. And like many of you out there, I'm still trying to figure a lot of things out. And when I think about reset and this reset that's changed all of my life and just changed everything and just gave me hope and gave me something to hold on, I want to kind of take you guys back to my childhood. So I know you watched the Legacy Makers episode and you got a little feel of what happened in my childhood and how that created a trajectory of chaos in my teenage years and into my adulthood. But I want to just take you back to that little girl. And as I'm talking about this, I want you to think about yourself. Think about the little one that you once were. You come into this world and you have no idea what this world is about to present to you. You're just here. You're dependent on your parents. You're dependent on your family. And you're trying to figure out things. And that's what I was reflecting on as I was going into this episode. I was like, I really want to spend some time reflecting into childhood because I know, and we all, from what we're learning about mental health, it all begins in our childhood. And my childhood there was this dichotomy going on where I really, really did come from this amazing family that I still love today. My father was only 19 years old at the time. My mother, 18, 19 at the time. And so giving birth to me outside of the marriage structure definitely is something that many of us are born into. And that can leave you uncovered in terms of what is most optimal, right? It's always most optimal when kids have two parents that are intentionally raising their child based on the legacy and morals and things that they want to pour into that child. So when a child is born to a single parent or a child is born into a situation that is not conducive to a two-parent household and a family that's centered around that, it can really create various opportunities for what I'd like to say the enemy to come in. Some of you out there, you may not be a believer like I am, and I just want to say that I am a believer. I am a follower of Christ, of Yeshua HaMashiach, and I love to say his Hebrew name, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But if I didn't have faith going back into my childhood, there would still be imminent chaos happening in my life. But thank God that I found the reset that changed everything in my life. So reflecting on that childhood, some things happened to me, like many of you out there, childhood essay and other things being introduced to as a young child can really put a stressor on your young brain that you don't deserve to have. I don't think any child should be on this earth experiencing something as detrimental as an adult mishandling them, abusing them. This is what messes up our childhood, along with so many other things. But these things were happening to me. And I honestly didn't truly understand what had happened until I came into my 40s. My deepest reflection has been the last 10 years where I got to really look back. I think for many of us, we awaken in our 40s and we're like, wow, whoa, something crazy happened to me and that's why I'm this way. This is why I behave this way. I had to go to therapy. I had to unpack my childhood. I think that was the first part of the reset to change everything, was when I began to realize, like, wow, I am damaged, like for real, for real. If you were to look at the psychological effects, I'm not going to get scientific on here because I really, really want this to just be from my heart. If you were to look at the psychological effects of a child who is mishandled and abused and what that does to the trajectory of that child's life, you would be astonished if you haven't already. The things that occurred in my childhood definitely shaped my brain. Even if there was love in my family and there was, all these external things, there was still these horrible things that happened to me. And at some point in life, we have to face those things. We have to face them. We have to deal with them. I think my true wake-up call, guys, was in my teenage years. For most young people who experience SA, who experience childhood trauma, the teenage years can be very detrimental because you're coming into this adult-like body, right? Not quite adult, but it's adult-like. And you're coming into a world that sadly sexualizes young bodies. And so my teenage years did become very promiscuous. And I did start to discover my power, like in the music industry and the entertainment industry. I felt like, oh, I have this power. I have this this beauty and this thing I can use to get what I want. And so now not only do I have a childhood that has imparted this dichotomy, this duality, of good versus evil, great family, but these things have happened to me and the teenage years. Now, I want you to think about what could have possibly been happening to my immune system during all of this. Like, when I think about it now, I'm like, man, I'm so strong because I'm very resilient. And, by God's grace, I became a very athletic person. And even now, my athleticism it's a lot of it is based on this power I feel when I release through the pressure. So I survived through a lot of pressure. It made me strong. But when I look back and I look at the story of my life, I can see when I began to break down. I can see when the nightmares began to come in my teenage years, even my preteen years. I can see when what I like to call the pick-me mentality began to latch itself onto me and present itself as boy crazy and, all these different interests in things I had yet to mature to even be able to handle. And not to mention also, too, being an attractive young lady. And this is for all of you young ladies out there that are attractive and beautiful. And you can come in many sizes. I'm not talking about, Barbie. Just as a young woman, as you come into your beauty and you begin to discover and you present yourself, you will attract a lot of energy. And a lot of young women are not mature enough to handle that. I definitely wasn't. Like, I was already shaped by my teenage years extremely sexually because of what happened in my childhood. So I had to navigate being this one person that was determined to be picked. And that was when I developed that pick me mentality, in my teenage years. And it carried on into my 20s. In my teenage years, when that awakened in me, it felt like power. It felt like, oh, they want me in this video because I'm pretty. They want me on this movie set because okay, I can maneuver. But yet, like I was saying earlier, what was happening to my immune system? Because by 19, my body broke down. I mean, like completely crashed out, as we say. I had a crashed out, okay? My son's father at the time had introduced me to a naturopath. And I talk about this in my Legacy Makers episode as well, but I want to unpack it a little bit more. And this naturopath, he sat me down and he's like, girl, I know you're petite. At the time, I was probably maybe 105 pounds. And he's like, if you don't get your wellness in order, you're going to have issues by the time you're in your 40s. I'm closing it out now. And I can tell you, and I will later on in our heart to heart here about, how I'm weathering through this season of my life. But back then, it was a wake-up call. That was another reset, that wake-up call that something has happened. I didn't have language for it, but I knew something had happened because my reproductive system wasn't operating as it should. And I was one of those young ladies who, just thought, man, okay, I'm cute, I'm petite, I can eat whatever I want. So that's what I did. I ate the McDonald's and the Kentucky Fried Chicken, a lot of it. But that's how it affected me. And so I had to really face that and recognize that, man, I am messing up my immune system. When that naturopath sat me down and he told me, he said, if you don't make changes, you're going to mess up your whole entire body. And he broke a lot of things down to me that I still operate in today, especially assessing myself. That was the first time. I had yet to have therapy yet. So this was my first experience with a holistic expert outside of the medical world, which was telling me have surgery, we'll cut it out, right? And he's like, girl, you can dissolve this. Let's stop eating the processed foods and all of that. And let's strengthen your immune system with juicing and superfoods. And so that's what I did. And the cyst dissolved within a week. And then after that, I was sold. I knew that this was going to be a pathway for me. But I didn't fully understand. I just was thinking, oh, I'm going to be a vegan now and this is the right way and we've got to all eat like this. And that was my message in my 20s, But then came motherhood and becoming a mom. And, that was another reset that changed everything for me. It was like, okay, you are now responsible for this little boy. And again, this is so important, and I hope this helps you guys out there. This is just my story. I'm being transparent with you. I didn't realize that what happened in my childhood and the trauma I had experienced was affecting my first marriage. and that relationship and my son. And I can't remember everything because that's something that happens as you get older. You start to lose your memory. But I remember just feeling this rage on the inside of me and feeling like just this anger. And I lost my first son. And, after Najman passed and I had to give birth to him and go through that whole traumatic experience, it affected my marriage. And then it affected me as a new mother, postpartum, having this new baby. And he was just so cute, just precious as can be. And I loved him so much. He was so smart, going through all of that. And by the time my son was about 2.5, his dad and I were going through a divorce. And we were going through a divorce because all of this trauma and all of these undealt with things, this is what most people go through. It surfaces. The moment you bring another individual into your life and you call it a relationship or a friendship or whatever you call it, if you bring another individual and that individual has issues that are now becoming, mental health issues from childhood, and you're bringing these people in these spaces called life and living and having children together, you're bound to have issues. Because the truth is, you don't know until you know. And I hope that more people get transparent about their journey and the reality. I think social media, the dangers of being an influencer and being a content creator is too much image and not enough depth, right? Like there's Wame now, and then there's Wame with my curly fro, or there's me with my crochet or my braids, and I love fashion, I love all those things, but I'm also a regular gal. You know what I mean? I'm a Black woman, and I'm proud to be. But I just think that we have so much image that we don't have enough depth. And so I wanted to have this time to give you a little bit of depth of me. And, I hope that what I'm talking about so far, that you're doing a little bit of inventory with yourself. And you're thinking about your childhood and you're thinking how it affected you. And maybe you haven't been to therapy. It would take years and years before I began to do the work, what I call shadow work. Psalms 23, tells us, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. It would take years and years till my faith would get strong enough where I could do the shadow work, where I could really face it and I could face myself. And the 20s, I became a single mom, like raising Mondekar, my son. And it was hard, but I loved him. And our love carried us through so much. And we had those moments, where every parent regrets something, whether it's something that's said or done. You just know, like, I could have done that better. But I know with all my heart, I gave my son the best of what I had. I think most parents do. In my process of healing and forgiveness, I forgave my parents and my family members. And, I went through that whole process because I knew that if I didn't, that I would be the one who would suffer. And so, just through that process of single motherhood, and then getting vision. Gosh, okay, another reset. Getting vision. Getting a download in my little brain to build a wellness company called the MARK, Total Body Wellness Network. At the time, I just wanted to please the Lord. I was an ordained minister. I was serving, and all I wanted to do was walk in my purpose and to support the work that I was doing at the ministry I was at. Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that I haven't really talked publicly about, that I think was a big part of the reset that changed everything for me, and that was definitely the deconstructing of religion out of my life. And I believe that, you know, with all of my sincere heart, I wanted to serve in the four walls as a minister based on what I was taught, whether it was from, you know, my childhood upbringing, to what I was learning when I was in Bible school and I was in, you know, my ministerial programs and whatnot. However, some of the things that I went through in church culture just added layers of trauma to my already trauma-based, you know, life. I was already trying to overcome. And at this time, like I said, I hadn't started therapy or doing the shadow work. And so raising my son, I thought the right thing to do, of course, and I still believe this, you know, is to be in fellowship with believers. And so here I was, you know, in fellowship, but there were things that were happening that as I look back now, that are things I would never want anyone to go through in their walk and their relationship with the Most High, with Jesus, with Yeshua. I think that the fear of man, I think Christian nationalism, the patriarchy, misogyny, you could just go down the list of things are many times in operation in these churches and in church culture. And I thank God for deconstructing me in that and making me a kingdom-minded woman. And that was when I really, really began to do the healing work and I started to dive into therapy. I'm going to talk about a lot of these things in an upcoming book that I'm writing. You'll get details on it in the future, but I got married in the midst of being in church culture, in the midst of being very broken in that environment. I chose to leave with a man. And I decided, you know, it had been too long, God. It's been too long. It's been, you know, 13 years of celibacy. I am ready. Like, come on. I've been raising this boy. I wrote the list. Where's the husband? Okay. And I thought that was it. But here's the thing. I had so many red flags. It's not even funny. Like, ladies out there and even guys out there, you know, the biggest red flag is being evenly yoked. You know, that's the biggest red flag. And I do thank God that I don't come from a religious family. I come from a praying family. So my father, my mom, you know, my aunties, uncles, they've always taught me to pray and to pray God's word and to, you know, be ready for battle, because you are in the battlefield of life and you're going to need to spiritually be ready. And what I found in this second attempt of mine, this choice that I made, and I really, really look at it like that because it's important that I did the healing work based on Wame and not based on my former spouse, that I focused on me and I focused on why I do the things I do, why I make the choices I make. I had to do that breaking of the pick-me woman. I had to do that breaking of that spirit in me. And it got ugly. Absolutely mental breakdown everywhere. I won't go into complete detail, but it was like a rescue mission from heaven. Like, here she goes making this crazy decision that is affecting her, that's affecting her legacy, and now it's time to get out. And that's where I've been for the past few years. And so that was another reset, a painful one, very, very painful one. It affected my son's mental health. I have carried so much guilt and shame and frustration. Man, the past few years, I can honestly say that I've come to know what grace truly means. And I have more compassion for others, more empathy, because I know what it's like to be in the kind of pain that requires you to face yourself. And the only way that we can reset anything that is offset in our lives is to face ourselves. We got to do the shadow work. And that was when I began to realize, like, I've got to go deep. I got to go and really face myself. So instead of jumping into another relationship, you have your little situationships. Those of you who've gone through divorce, you got maybe things that come up, but nothing really established. And I knew I needed to get focused. And I knew I needed to fight for my celibacy. I knew I needed to fight to find myself and to not worry about my age, because that was something new, like, oh, I'm getting older. And I'd never had those thoughts before. Now all of a sudden here comes this new layer. And I said, no, that's not what this is about. You cannot rush things anymore in your life. You've got to slow down. Do you see what has happened here? And I had to continue to build the mark. I didn't stop. I continued to show up for my clients. I have been through so much financially, it's not even funny. Like, I've had so many highs and so many lows coming out of my divorce. I just got to the point where I just started like radically trusting God and radically opening my heart to serve, and recognizing that the reason I've gone through getting access to resetting has been for the purpose of being able to overflow. And so here I am now in overflow and building the mark through all of these years. It has been quite a journey. There have been many times I wanted to quit, like for real, like I'm done. On the phone with my dad, like I'm done, I'm throwing in the towel, I don't want to do this, this is crazy, like who do I even think I am? If any of you have ever been out there and you're like, who do I even think I am? There are much more qualified coaches, much more qualified people to do this. Why am I still doing this? This is exhausting me, like I'm done. And God just came in the midst of that, and the Holy Spirit just grabbed a hold of me and gave me this level of rest in the process, and started to really gain my trust that this was going to be a journey, that it's not going to be a sprint. It's not. And I am really disappointed that that is put out there, a lot by Christianity, is that you come in, you get fixed, and then you just live in this like super saint life. It's not like that. You're coming into a war, and you need resetting so that you can be a warrior. Because as we can see right now, we are in a war. It's spiritual and it is in the physical. And so I just want to move into just where I am right now when it comes to the reset that changed everything. Where I am right now is I'm so filled with gratitude to know that with everything happening in the world, every day I wake up and it's news, people getting shot, people getting snatched off the streets. You never know what is going to be next. And I get to come into the world and share a message of wellness because I know where to go. I'm getting ready to start my next ultimate lifestyle transformation, my 15th one, that's going to keep my cells healthy and my immune system strong. I can go to the gym and Next Level Fitness. I'm going to work out. I'm going to get my workout in. I can travel and go see my family. I can get with other leaders to help strengthen me and to keep my vision strong. And that's what I'm doing in this time. Not always easy. It's hard. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But I have people I can weep with. I have people I can really get things that are on the inside of me out. My counselor, my mentors, my coaches, all of those people in my life, my elders, my parents above all. So I'm so grateful for all of that. And that's how I continue to reset, because it's not going to be perfect. It's not always going to be okay. This is not life is not glamorous. We create glamour with art and image, but real life itself, it's raw, it's rugged. Outside of what's going on here, there's stuff you gotta get in the dirt, break up the fallow ground of your heart, and you gotta do that inner work. That's what I've been doing, and it's still not easy. It doesn't get easier, but I know that the word reset always reminds me that there's that button I can hit, you know what I mean, and recalibrate and rethink some things and just kind of get a new perspective on things. And I think that's what resetting means to me now. So with everything going on, we are psychologically being bombarded every day. As a person who's overcome trauma, I can tell you that I get concerned. I get really concerned with what's happening, in the world, because I know this is affecting our wellness. And I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to give up, especially people my age. That really, really concerns me. When I see my friends not wanting to work out, not wanting to eat healthy, going into depression, when I see people my age, giving up. I just want to close with this, guys. Don't give up. Don't give up. You have a reset button that you can hit. And no matter what point you are in life, there's something that can get reset in your life, and you will always be resetting. And those experiences will change things. You will go through transformations through those resetting experiences. I've shared some. There's more that I'm going to release. That's why I'm just writing a lot now. I'm like sitting, in my spot writing this book that I'm so excited about getting out this summer. And I just feel like the most important thing for us all right now is our wellness. It's our wellness. My message to you is to focus on your wellness. Focus on your mindset. That's what I've had to focus on, is strengthening my mindset. Face yourself, your fears, your anger, your rage, your trauma, whatever it is, face it. And I pray that God gives you the proper mental health support and counsel, which I've been very blessed to have, and the personal development that you need as well. The Mark is always here to support you all in that process. We have so many tools and resources within the E3 Club, the masterminds we have coming up, also the gut cleansing we do with the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation. We have fully set up this one-stop holistic wellness shop to help those of you out there who are ready to reset your life. And we can do it from various angles. Be encouraged. Don't let anyone or anything bring you down. Please know that God is for you and not against you. Continue to press towards the mark of the high calling. The high calling, everything in Christ is of abundance. Everything in him I've found is of healing, is of transformation. He didn't come for those who had it all together. He came for those of us who have been sick, those of us who've been wounded. And if that's you out there, he is here for you. He is here for you. And I can't make that happen. I can only pray that supernaturally you'll have the kind of encounter that I've had, and that you too will be blessed. I'm so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm not perfect, but I am blessed. And I hope that you can find the peace, the assurance, and the guidance that I've gotten through Yeshua HaMashiach, through the power of the Holy Spirit, and through my wellness. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Guys, thank you so much for joining this evening. Thank you for tuning into the Well podcast. Thank you just for your love and your support of me. Thank you for just supporting the Mark Total Body Wellness Network. Thank you for supporting me as a coach. And I'm super excited about 2026. Ways that we can connect is, number one, there is the E3 Club. I only have a few spaces left, but this is for that person if you are a legacy builder, a high achiever or purpose-driven leader, and you want to go through a 1-year transformation. We're going to unlock all of the tools, the resources, all of our wonderful partnerships within the Mark Total Body Wellness Network and take you through a 1-year transformation. And then there's also my E3 masterminds, and I do those monthly. I give those of you out there who want to get the blueprint, the E3 blueprint. E stands for empowerment, and then we do 3 pillars, which is movement mastery, nutritional resetting, as well as personal development. We're going to unlock that so you can get connected to that as well. And within all of this, we're always offering the gut reset. Anybody that wants to just, you're like, I need to cleanse my gut. I'm always telling you all out there to get connected with that, which is the ultimate lifestyle transformation. So those are our 3 things that we're leading with right now, closing out 2025, moving into 2026, and getting you all out there plugged into amazing transformations. I am here for you, number one, as your sister, and also just as a coach, definitely here to support you all on your wellness journey. Thank you again for tuning into the Well podcast. Peace.